Today on the Winning with Shopify podcast.
An experiment where you're figuring out what do you need to offer in order to get the number of purchases you want.
Sorry, my brain is fried from trying to work out how to actually get on this
To
recording.
me, I'm like, okay, that's probably a good starting point.
Put it on Google Ads, get rid of it, break even, like it's just sitting in a warehouse.
Really motivates people to buy a little more.
I almost don't care what GA4 tells me or what the ad platforms and tracking platforms tell me.
They could actually be like getting a nice hefty bump in revenue by just setting up these simple discounts.
The tech's there, you're just not utilizing it yet.
They have as like a mission to rein in how much they're discounting.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Winning with Shopify podcast. I'm currently recording on my colleague's laptop, so if anything goes wrong or weird, apologies. I've left my laptop at a previous meeting, which was over 2 hours away, and I've had to obviously stop texting the client to work out how to get this laptop back to my office. But I'm sitting in the podcast studio for the next couple of hours recording a few episodes. So apologies if anything goes wrong. Blame Rob in my team for being so kind to lend me his laptop. I don't know what Rob's going to do for the next 2 hours, but if you need Rob over that time or you have needed him and he's not replied, apologies, my fault. Anyway, I'm super excited for today's episode. We are talking about not just email, but we're talking about something else to do with email from one of our partners, which I'll come on to in a moment. If you haven't already, make sure you go to wwspodcast.com and sign up to our email list. As we're talking about email today, the guys at Seguno help us run email, and they keep kicking me. Brian especially, who's been on the show several times. Brian keeps kicking me to be like, Nick, tell people to go sign up. There's so many cool offers coming out. We're running some extra content that we don't put on the podcast, and we've got something very exciting happening next summer 2026. Put it in your diary. Obviously, you're not going to miss the whole of summer. I don't know what the date is yet, but something exciting is coming. Byron and I are just trying to work out logistics of how we're going to make it all happen, but something very exciting is coming. But go and join our newsletter because we are sending out loads of cool content. And it means you never miss an episode, whether it's a Tuesday tea break talks with yours truly, or it is a Friday episode like today, where we're going to be talking to a very special guest. And without further ado, my very special guest is Cara from Seguno. So Cara, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. So excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. We still haven't met anyone from Seguno that is not full of energy, super knowledgeable, and super fun to have on the show. So I'm so excited to have you. And as I said to you on email just before we started recording, so organized as well. I have so many notes to talk about, so many things to try and cover. If someone's like, Nick, you've mentioned Seguno 5 times. What on earth is that? I'm so lost here. You've mentioned email and Seguno. Cara, tell us a bit about what Seguno is and also your role in the team there.
Yeah. So we're a software company, and our mission is to build better marketing tools for Shopify merchants. And so usually when you talk about Seguno, you're talking about Seguno Email, which is an email marketing platform for Shopify brands built inside Shopify. And today we're going to be focusing on a different aspect of Seguno, which is also available within email actually, but it's discounts. And so what I work on is our app Bulk Discount Code Bot. And it's an app for generating unique discount codes within Shopify for running your discounts.
Amazing. And we're going to talk a lot about discounts as we go through. And as you say, we normally talk about, certainly when we're talking to Seguno, we normally talk about email. And it's very often Brian or someone like Brian in the team talking about email strategies. So with discounts, obviously Shopify have their own discount area, and you can just go and set up a discount and run something. Tell us why that doesn't work, why you guys have set out to create something different.
So for Bulk Discount Code Bot specifically, what we focus on is unique discount codes. And often people get confused as to what that is. So it's not when you see like spring 10 or winter 15, and it's the same code that's like static for everybody. It's when actually each person gets their own random string, their own discount code. And so these are really great because they give you super accurate last touch attribution. They let you experiment with different offers without compromising your brand perception. And the personalization tends to also help with driving loyalty and in lifecycle marketing. So I love unique discount codes. I'm excited to get into how people use them and how merchants who are listening to the show can try using them too.
I think one of the biggest issues with not having a unique code, especially, is, I mean, firstly, there's the whole personalization side of it. So if it was Nick123 from a brand, I would say, this is really nice. That brand has given me a discount that I can use. And secondly, the first thing I've written down is how many times have we gone to the cart on a website and then just Googled like discount code, voucher codes, or anything sort of similar. And you just find, as you say, like the summer 2025 or the welcome 10 to get 10% off your first order, which kind of makes it feel like, right, I'm just part of a big set of fish swimming in the river at the moment. This isn't anything unique, anything personalized. But obviously, unique gives you way more control, doesn't it? So tell us some of the advantages as to using some more of the advantages beyond the obvious as to using those unique codes, or some of the scenarios where people actually use these.
Yeah, so something that's been really cool to see is when people are using unique discount codes, they're typically not just thinking about like, oh, I'm going to run this discount or whatever, the just like these are the standard discounts. Instead, they're thinking about like what are these experiments I can run offering different targeted discounts to different segments such that I can drive more revenue. And well, I'm sure we'll get into it. We recently have been working on this discount report that analyzed 162,000 discounts from 12,000 brands. And something that we see is larger brands in particular are really strategic about how they're doing their discount codes. And so we're excited to bring that to everybody because there are some low hanging fruit that we think everybody should be doing.
And how much does it vary across different customer groups? For like, obviously, when we talk about email a lot with you guys, we talk about segmentation. So, how much does it vary between somebody that buys 10 times a year? Do you try not to discount too much because actually they value the product and are buying it anyway? So, why discount it? Or do you try and give them a discount to try and encourage them to do more? Is that segmentation really important actually for discounting as much as it is for more traditional things like email?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I think and there are all sorts of different kinds of discounts. So, there's a discount for someone who's new and coming in, they're new to your brand. It's very common to do like a welcome offer, and when that's on a unique code instead of a static one, you really make sure that you're going to capture their email or their phone number, ideally both, right? And then there's a whole bunch of other discounts, like as part of marketing life cycle. So right after you make a purchase, you're likely to want to come back and purchase more. So what kind of discount should you be offering there? So yeah, they're not I feel like, calling it a discount makes it sound a little bit lame. It's really just this powerful tool for driving growth. And when people something I've loved talking to our customers is you see that they are, like, just so thoughtful and, like, there's so much analysis going into what they're
Mm.
offering and then analysis after the fact of what works, what didn't, and tweaking things, and it's really fun, and it has a big impact.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Yoast. They are the go-to tool for getting your content SEO ready and Google loved. From keywords to readability and those all-important meta tags, which I know a lot about, Yoast makes it easy. Right now, our listeners can get 15% off all WordPress purchases if you use the Yoast plugin on WordPress, and also on monthly Shopify plans for your first 6 months. Just use the code WWS15, so WWS15 at checkout at yoast.com. That's WWS15, 15% off for better visibility, more clicks, and a healthier website. Let Yoast handle the SEO so you can focus on what you do best. I think as well, when you've just got a blanket code, it's like I mentioned about people sharing it, it's so easy for them just to share that summer 10 and go 10% off summer, and everyone's like, great, let's jump on that. But actually, if you use unique codes, you could say, right, just a random third of my audience, I'm going to do 10%, a random third, I'm going to do 15%, and a random third, I'm going to do 17.5%. 20 is too much, go 17.5, and see actually the 17.5, the average order value was so much higher, people buying 4 products instead of 2 and 2 on the other 2 segments. That is an incredible learning, which, as we say, even if you ran, for example, if you ran just 3 codes, so you had like 10% off, 15% off, 17% off, if you ran those, you just need the 17.5% to be shared once, and the whole test is ruined. And the 10 and 15%, anyone that finds the 17.5 would go, I've been ripped off here. Whereas actually, if someone did see the 10% and we're getting 17.5, which was a unique code, they'd say, I'm a valued customer, but also it's a one-time use, so I'm not going to share it. And it must be, I imagine, again, I'm kind of looking at it from a customer acquisition point of view, and as an outsider compared to you who's in the detail, but it must be so important to put that unique one-time use as well alongside the code.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And two things on that. I love how you described it. It's very much an experiment where you're figuring out what do you need to offer in order to get the number of purchases you want, and what can you save as revenue for your brand, right? And one thing that's really cool with unique codes is like if you imagine that it's part of like an email or SMS marketing lifecycle email, you don't need to have. You basically can have your code expire whenever you want it to expire for that
Mm.
person. So you can set the expiry to be 1 week later, and that drives urgency. So instead of that static code that
Yep.
may be sitting there forever, right, you're like, this really is going to expire in 7 days. And just to touch on, just for fun, because of that idea of like 15, 17.5,
Mm.
20, whatever, something we found is the most popular. What do you think the most popular percentage off is that we see?
I imagine it's probably 10%.
It's a good guess. It's actually 20%.
Is it?
And then 10 is
Ah,
number 2 and 15
mm.
is number 3. So to me,
Interesting.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely gonna, like, vary by brand, but when you look at the one that's the most popular to offer, you know that other
Mm.
brands are also putting thought into those offers and looking at how they're performing. So to me, I'm like, "Okay, that's probably a good starting point."
Okay, I've got about 20 things, Cara, to go out on this. I've said the last few weeks as well. This is my favorite part of every episode where it's like, okay, my notepad's getting full, and it's like we can go down so many roads. I want to start with two that I think are much quicker, and then let's dive into something you've just mentioned that I think is really key actually. One of the quick ones then is this report. Do people have access to it? I don't actually know the answer to this. I know we work closely, guys. Is this somewhere people can go and access it and download the report?
Yes, definitely. So we'll put the link in the description, and yeah, it's available to download for everybody.
Sorry, I did know that before we hit record. That's the link we sorry, my brain is fried from trying to work out how to actually get on this recording with my laptop issues. But yeah, sorry. So yeah, the link will be in the description, guys. That's the link that we had a
Yep.
conversation about, Cara. Sorry, my bad. So the report is available, which I think is really, really
Yep.
powerful. With so to ask sorry, I said there were two easy ones and one not so easy. That's answered both my easy ones. And actually there's two not so easy. And let's
Love
go
it.
into some of the deeper things in this. So with unique codes, if you had say 50,000 customers or half a million customers or 2 million customers, whatever the amount, there's a lot of data there and there's a lot of people to try and get unique codes to. So even if somebody used an app that could create unique codes in Shopify's discount code area, for example, and populate them, there's still an enormous headache forthcoming, which is how are we going to send out emails to each of those customers with those codes? And I take it, given that you guys are Seguno and that your main service is email, and then you've got Canva and these discount codes and other bits and pieces that kind of fit around. I'm take it it's all integrated in Seguno, isn't it? So you can go, right, I'm going to run a campaign and insert their unique code here, segmentation of only people that we've given codes to, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. So the base functionality of just generating codes, it actually is built directly into Seguno email, like you said. So you can just say you want unique codes, and it's going to automatically put those into your emails. Um,
Cool.
there's some additional things like reporting, and we're working on deepening that further.
Mm.
And so that's only in bulk discount code bot for now. But you do touch on something really interesting, which is how do you get okay? You just generated a million codes, now how do you get them where you want them to go? And so the way of doing that from our app is you just export them to CSV, and then pretty much all, whether you're doing SMS, direct mail, another email provider, you can just upload them that way.
Mm.
So try to make that easy. But yeah.
Amazing. Otherwise, poor little Bob's going to have a very, very long day clicking send on a million emails to get those codes out. But I guess the other part of this as well that you touched on, and this probably flows a bit more into what we normally talk about, but not specifically around discount codes. But we talk a lot about automation with you guys and actually setting up some of the flows. So if this, then that. If this, then that. And you kind of end up with the sequence. Like for example, I love I mentioned this so many times on the show, and loads of our clients. In fact, every single client that's using Seguno uses this now. Is when you send an email, you can click a box to say if they don't open the email, send it again with a different subject line. That's one very quick and simple example. But with the discount codes, you can set so many different automations, which one of the biggest headaches we found when we've done surveys across lots of you guys, lots of Shopify merchants and e-commerce brands, one of the biggest headaches you guys have is coming up with social content and most importantly, coming up with email content. So actually, if you're like, I'm going to block out 3 weeks of this month to go, week one, I'm going to send out a discount code to everybody. And I'm going to spend the rest of the weeks going, hey, you didn't open your email, or you did open your email, but you haven't used it yet. Or you did open it, you've put it in the cart, but you haven't checked out yet. There's all these different stories that are very specific that, although it's automated and no one's physically writing the email and clicking send, the power of that, I mean, making that a conversation of, we're trying to give you a nice thing, customer, come back and buy, that saves part of that headache of what am I going to email, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And having, if you're, because today is a lot about discounts. If you have a discount
Mm.
code in your email, then you want to resend that discount code in future emails using the same unique discount code,
Hmm.
and that, um, yeah, that definitely helps you figure out what content should be going in there. How do you keep adding value to your customers as you're like re-emailing them and sharing information? Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And what are some of the other use cases that people would use the automation with discount codes for that you see? I mean, you poor thing, having looked at 12,000 brands and there's 162 I've got written down 100 from your email, 162,000 discount sets. What are some of the other use cases, specifically, if we stick specifically around automation for a second? What are some of the other use cases brands are using this kind of setup for?
Yeah, so the most popular ones with marketing lifecycle are new subscriber welcome. So that could be email,
Mhm.
SMS, uh, in app, wherever you're welcoming them. So offering a unique discount code for that. The second most popular one is win back. So a customer has churned and you're offering them a discount code to get them back. And those are the two ones that come up the most. After that, we see post purchase, which I had mentioned
Mm.
earlier. I think that's an underused one. And we also
Yeah, yeah,
see browse and cart abandonment, which I think you touched on in the automations.
yeah.
But yeah, the two most popular ones are those welcome ones and the win back.
I think one of the biggest things that I'm as a consumer, I'm seeing brands do more of, and as an agency, I'm seeing brands set up in their back end is that post purchase. And one of the metrics, one of the KPIs or benchmarks that a lot of brands that we work with that we actually set is to say that what's your average order value, and then what's your average cost to acquire a customer through Google Ads, Meta Ads, or through all marketing for all new customers every month? What's that figure? So say the average order value is $100 and it costs us $25 to acquire a new customer in, which is going up, unfortunately, everybody, with inflation and click costs and everything else going around the world. It's going up. But let's assume it was $25 and $100 the average order value. Well, you've got up to a 25% discount you could give, and that would then be benchmarked the same for somebody's second order, and that would be the same cost as you acquiring them from Google. So actually, if you gave away anything less than that, profit. And it's profit compared to customer acquisition. I guess the hardest thing brands need to really think about and certainly have to balance with all of this, when it comes to the financials, is you've got to balance what is the customer actually, what are they going to do without us giving them a discount? Because we don't want to just give discounts away and find actually our repeat order rate goes up 5%, but we've discounted all our orders, and or maybe we're losing 10% revenue, but we've gained 5 from this and we've lost 10% because everybody's now getting discounts, which I think is where the unique codes are even more powerful, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because you only give discounts to the folks you want to give discounts to, right? Very
Mm.
specifically. You also don't have an issue that I hear all the time from brands who are now moving towards more unique codes is that they've had these just like splash discounts on their landing page for a while, and now people don't want to buy unless if they see one of those on their landing page.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really devaluing the brand. But yeah, although this is a little bit winding, I love how you were getting into average order value and just like how are you driving that up. And
Mm.
one of the things that was one of my favorite findings in this report, and something we've heard from our customers, is that there are ways to use discounts to drive average order value up. And so the most common ways are with a buy X get Y discount,
Yeah, yeah.
which large brands actually use 6 times more often than small brands. So let's use them, everybody.
That's
Uh,
fascinating. Sorry, so,
yeah,
so large corporate brand, well, not corporate necessarily,
yeah,
just large brands. They're 6 times more likely to use
yep,
if you buy this, then you get this discount than small
yep.
brands.
Yep, and it just is driving
Wow.
your average order value up, right? Because 'Cause you're setting
Mm.
requirements for what you need to buy in order to get something. And
Wow.
a very similar one is gift with purchase. And
Mm.
something we hear from, especially larger brands who have experimented with all different kinds of discounts is that gift with purchase or buy X, get Y, the
Yep.
secret is you actually just have some excess inventory that's not moving. And what you do is you say, "Hey, if you spend a bit more than you would have otherwise, I'm gonna give you this excess inventory." And that really motivates people to buy a little
Mm.
more. And at the same time, it's just a win-win because you're getting rid of your excess inventory, you're not devaluing your brand, and people are excited to get that inventory for free.
Sales tax is overwhelming. Never mind the stress that comes with a provider that's overpriced, unreliable, or leaves you waiting days to get a reply. TaxCloud is here to tell you there's a better way. They're not just a tool, they're a trusted filing partner for growing Shopify brands. They will work directly with the states on your behalf to handle registrations, filings, and ongoing compliance, so you can stay focused on growing your business. Plus, with a 4.9 star rating on the Shopify App Store, merchants trust TaxCloud to get it right, and you can too. Go ahead and check them out at taxcloud.com/winning. This is exclusive for the Winning with Shopify podcast listeners, and you will get a free migration onboarding service when you decide to make the switch. So that's taxcloud.com/winning. So we had a brand that had some excess stock, and they said to us, can you just put it on Google Ads, get rid of it, break even, like it's just sitting in the warehouse. And I sort of phoned them. I said, how much of this stuff have you got? And they said, oh, it's about 20% of our entire stock right now is this wasted stuff over here. And it's only got 6 months shelf life left until it's out of date and it has to go in the bin. And I sort of said, all right, I've got an idea. Rather than saying this is cheap and it's on our outlet, take it off for the first week, just because we've got a few months. We've got 6 months we've got probably 2 or 3 months to sell it. For a week, just take it off the site altogether. We're going to launch it as the new luxury range because it was actually better and it cost them more and they'd written it off because they said, so new luxury range. We put a free sample of it in everybody's order and said this is the new luxury version of what you've ordered. And because it was to do with health supplements, and protein shakes and stuff like that. So we said that this new supplement, and it actually had a higher protein and a creatine content, I think it was, than all their other normal products. But they couldn't sell it, so they were just discounting to the point where they were giving people basically money with it when you looked at how much what the price was compared to what they paid for it. We put it in the new luxury range, bestseller. It was a bestseller, and they couldn't get any more of it because they had screwed up the relationship with the supplier because they had gone, nobody's buying this stuff. It just showed the positioning was so important. And actually, we put the price of it up at the same time. So we gave it away for free, but we used a similar discount thing of saying if you spend £100 on the website, you get one of our new premium, like this is our highest protein, highest creatine supplement that you can put in your protein shakes. And people were like, wow, let's try that. And just the psychology of it, knowing I've just had this thing that's really expensive and it's free. And about 30-40% of all customers started then buying that. And suddenly the finance director was like, what have you done? You've like hacked the system. It's like, no, it's psychological marketing. We're using the human psychology to go, how do we make this a premium product because you're offering it too cheap? So, sorry, I know in a bit of a tangent, but I love that. I love that association. But going back to what you said, I'm so surprised that big brands use that more than small brands. I'm so surprised. And the reason I'm surprised is for a big brand to get approval on something like that, it's gone through several chains of command. And it's a bigger risk if it goes wrong. For a small brand, you could run it for 2 days and if it doesn't work, you turn it off. It's so much more nimble. So I think, what other learnings are in this report? That's amazing.
Yeah. I think that's so cool, by the way. Just the reframing, giving the sample, now it's premium and all of that experimentation. We see folks doing things like that all the time and it makes all the difference and not writing things off, right? But yeah, so buy X, get Y, gift with purchase. That kind of ties into just a larger trend. It's a great point that it is more effort for larger brands to do these offers. But at the same time, they recognize that strategic discounts drive revenue. And so they have like allocated resources to think through what are the discounts we should be offering and track how they're performing. And sometimes with smaller brands, they just kind of like have so much going on, so much on their plate. And so they kind of like overlook that they could actually be like getting a nice hefty bump in revenue by just setting up these simple discounts. So I really love that one. 2 other use cases that were pretty interesting. One is affiliate programs that accounted for 15% of 15 of all of the discounts that we were looking at, and that was really cool. And another one that's especially popular in Europe is student and friends discounts, which was just behind it at 11%. So yeah, happy to get into some more there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talk about affiliates quite a bit, so let's cover that if we've got time in a minute. But I think you've obviously got Uni Day and Student Beans here as well. I love it's called Student Beans. It's so funny. But yeah, Student and Friends, those discount codes. I guess with the unique element to it as well, having some verification of like you have to use your .ac.uk email address if you're in the UK, or so .edu I think it is that's used a lot in the US. It's what Apple used to do with the student discount on Apple. Tell us more about how that can work and how you can make that customer feel special and unique enough that it's more effective than just using one of those blanket codes we spoke about at the start.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Um, so I think the yeah, I don't have a great answer to that, honestly. I think
No
that
worries.
that's a great question. I think that
Mm,
to me, what's so exciting about student discounts and why at first I was kind of surprised to see those so high up, and then I was thinking about it more, and I was like, oh, it's really interesting, and I have seen folks talk about it. Is that often people say, oh, students, right? We're going to offer, let's say, a 15%, 20% discount, something like that, and that's going to dig into our margins, and we're not going to focus on it. But when you look at these sites like Unidays and Student Beans, you're actually distributing, like that's a top of funnel way to get in front of more people. And people often find that the discount that they offer to students isn't digging into margins sufficiently to be an issue for them, and it's still definitely a win-win. So I just thought it was interesting that student discounts are so important to especially larger brands, especially in Europe. And we did actually in our analysis group it with friends and family discounts and
mm.
employee discounts. So kind of all of these together we're calling insider discounts. And people are doing them way more than I thought. So really interesting. Yeah.
I do. Whenever we show any data to clients, I love sort of saying to them initially, like, everyone write down what you think these next 20 stats are. Just write them down quickly. Like, I just want to
Mhm.
get an idea as to what we all think, and I'll do the same. You're like, well, I can tell you what I thought first, and then here's the data to tell you what's actually going on. One thing I was just thinking though, which I think it's both an issue, but there's an amazing solution using unique discount codes for. And we've only done this once, I think, and now I'm thinking about we should do this more. One of the issues we're having at the moment is to do with cookie banners, GA4 tracking, all the kind of nonsense going on in governments and politics, and certainly around Europe at the moment. You guys seem completely immune in the US. You lucky people. But we've got a couple of new laws changing in the UK to basically kill cookie banners and stuff and get rid of them, which I'm going to talk about a lot more on the show over the next few months, guys. January 26th is when it actually comes into effect, and the EU are furious, which makes me very happy. So the thing that's happening is we've got all this traffic coming in from Google Ads, from Meta, from email, from SEO, but because of cookie issues, privacy, people accepting and rejecting banners, we're just losing data. And I would almost say this year is a bit of an epidemic of data loss for companies, which in 2025 sounds so mad. We've got AI, we've got more digitalization than ever, and we can't track stuff. We've got clients that have launched apps recently, and we can't track very well. People that have gone from website into the app stores or Google Play Store and then downloaded the app. So actually using a unique code, you could run a campaign for students only. So you could run it on Google and Meta, say, if we know you're a student, see these ads. I'm going to target you with these ads saying, hey, come buy our product. Using a unique code, we could also connect those unique codes to say, there's no way you could have found the landing page and therefore got hold of a unique code unless you came through this campaign. So I've been doing it a lot, certainly with some of our B2B clients, of almost saying, let's just build a second version of the site you can only access if you clicked on an advert. And if you clicked on the ad, you're in that version of the site. And if you've not clicked on an ad, you're on the normal public site. And then I almost don't care what GA4 tells me or what the ad platforms and tracking platforms tell me. I'm going to look at the CRM system and say, all of these guys filled out a PPC or an advertising tagged form. They're all from ads. Any questions? And that's it kind of splits everything to say, like, this is all of our activity. So using unique codes on Shopify do exactly the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a smart approach, and it's, to me, we're just losing the ability to attribute where sales are coming from. And so with unique
Mm.
discount codes, you're able to know exactly what that last touch was, and do it in a way like, because yeah, the privacy laws, they have a reason for being, right. It's really
Yeah,
important
yeah,
to
they do.
protect
They do.
privacy. They do. And so and so the unique discount codes are giving you that attribution in a way that is really privacy friendly too. So that's a benefit there.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm just looking at the time. Let's talk about affiliates for a second then. So that could be anything from an influencer to a blog to a discount site. It could be sites where you can apply for a discount code, that kind of thing. Tell us what you found in the report about that, because 15%, I mean, that again is quite a high statistic compared to what I see in GA4.
Yeah, and when we look at the affiliate programs, the biggest thing again is attribution. So
Mm.
especially if you think about, I'm working with this influencer, that influencer, this retail store, what is actually working, right? And so one of the most frustrating things as a merchant is to be like offering discounts and then you don't know what worked and you don't know what next steps to take. And so
Mm.
we really see, of course, affiliate use cases are rising, and the use of unique codes to track attribution is really important. And one of the things I thought was especially interesting looking at the affiliate use case is it's not just those ones that you mentioned. It's also some, like, especially in talking to larger brands, it's some additional ways that people are using affiliate programs that you may not expect. So one
Mm.
example is one of our larger brands that sells hardware is selling it through retail hardware stores, and they'll give an affiliate code to all employees because they
Oh,
find
nice.
that for each purchase made by an employee, they get about seven more than they would have otherwise in the store. And
That's
so,
fascinating. It makes sense,
mhm,
but that is
yeah,
really interesting. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And they'll offer a pretty steep discount to the employee, such that hopefully their margin is still there, but they're taking
Mm.
into account those seven more purchases. So really cool.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I bought a new car recently, and I said to the guy when I was buying it, "Have you ever driven one of these cars I'm looking to buy?" And he said, "Yeah, it was my demo car for about 6 weeks, so I know how the engine works, the system, I know how comfortable it is, and all this kind of stuff." And he said, and he sort of said, "These two things you don't really need." And I actually had a much more, having asked him that question, had a much more honest experience. But equally, if his answer had been no, I've never used it, which is I would say majority of you guys doing wholesale that are listening at home, like probably not even thinking about this kind of thing. But I guess the other way they could almost do it is if you were using a retailer, rather than just using the discount code, you could even just say to them, look, you've ordered 100 of these, we're sending you 103 are for you and your staff, so enjoy, and get to use them and start. And people do it all the time. I haven't got any here. I have got one, and I've spoken about them so much. This is the Bean Shop. Lorna, I know you listen to the podcast a lot and you love it. But I've got one of their t-shirts up just literally over there at the moment, and we drink their coffee. And although it probably hasn't cost you much at all, Lorna, I'm hoping you're getting more sales because I'm talking about it on the show so much. Um, but I think that again, it's just that use case. I think of using what actually came from a unique discount code has suddenly led to so many things. How how many brands do you find have access to the unique discount code system and just aren't utilizing it well enough yet? How many people do you have many situations do you guys find where it's like the text there, you're just not utilizing it yet?
So one thing we see, I guess the data that we looked at are all people who have access to unique discount codes. So we are looking specifically at bulk discount code bot, but anyone in Seguno email would also have that access. And the main thing, so everyone there by definition has like done something,
Okay.
but what we
Yeah,
see
yeah.
is that the larger brands are doing a lot more. And
Mm.
so where smaller brands may focus more on just like the typical seasonal promotions, you have the larger brands dedicating more resources. Some small brands do too, but larger brands are dedicating more resources to these marketing lifecycle campaigns, the affiliate programs, the student discounts. And they're really not that much effort to set up relatively once you kind of have on your radar, like, oh, that could drive some serious revenue for me. So yeah, hopefully folks who listen to this and don't have unique discount codes and strategic discount offerings yet will have a couple things they could go apply and make some more money. That's good.
Absolutely. And one of the only sorry, I say last, there's probably going to be more. One of the only notes I've got on my pad in front of me that we haven't spoken about, and I wrote it down right at the start as well, is just about the ability to use the unique discount code to avoid devaluing the brand. I kind of mentioned it, and I know you've mentioned it a couple of times as well. So mentioned it a little bit about how when someone basically when you get a blanket discount code, it's like, right, these guys are 10% off. Or you mentioned the homepage banner. If I get a welcome 10 discount, I'm expecting 10% off every time. Or we've all got more than one email address. I'm just going to use more than one email address. And then you think you've got 1 million customers. You've actually only got 400,000 because loads of them have used multiple emails over the years. But that ability to not devalue the brand is so powerful, isn't it? To say, because for example, if you did and you mentioned this earlier, if we did a abandoned basket automation, so you've got an abandoned basket, but the basket value is above a certain amount, you could say, hey, here's a 10% off code that expires at midnight. And suddenly it's like, hey, let me run home, honey. We need to talk. Like, I've been offered this 10% off. It's quite a big order, especially for a hardware store. Like, there's loads of stuff that I need to buy. Or if it's say it's somebody buying screws and shelves and wood and stuff because they're a tradie and they need to do a job, they might be phoning the customer going, hey, the guys have offered me 10% off on your order, but we got to do it tonight. And it creates a bit of urgency then.
Yep.
And again, you can then see that starting to roll out. But what you're not doing, you're not actually applying a homepage banner. You're not applying a discount to product. Therefore, the mindset is it's full price, but they've offered me a little discount here, but you've only offered it to that one person because they've got a high average order value, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a good way of keeping it locked, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly, and one thing, yeah, that I find really interesting is a lot of larger brands who have done a lot of just banners on their site, they have as like a mission to rein in how much they're discounting because they're worried about how much that's impacting what they can charge for their products. But even when they rein it in, they're able to use unique discount codes basically in place of those site-wide banners to keep and rebuild positive premium brand associations while driving that urgency. And
Mm,
the reason you're discounting is to drive more revenue, right? It
yeah,
works to drive more revenue as long as people aren't like, oh, where's that 60%? No. So, so really uh, reclaiming that as a tool that you can use without having the fear that there are going to be consequences down the road of how you're devaluing your brand perception.
absolutely. And just to jump back to that excess stock one as well,
Mhm.
being able to email someone and say, you know, you've, especially a win. I let you guys call them win back campaigns, and I love that as a phrase because it explains so clearly what it is. And having that win back campaign to basically say to someone, you've not bought from us for 6 months, got all this excess stock. So next time you spend $50 on our website, we're going to give you we owe you a free gift. Like, you know, it's this. There's something on us, so go and spend $50 and find out what it is. You just get rid of excess stock, or like in my client situation, trying to make a very cheap product more premium because it was very expensive to bring in the first place. But amazing. Is there anything else on your list? We've got a couple of minutes still, but anything else on your list from the report that you think is particularly awesome that we should point out before people go and download it and read it for themselves?
I think that was the main highlights I wanted to share. Yeah, some when you take a look at the report, you'll see we're not going to get into it here, but there's nitty gritty broken down by industry and
Oh,
also by
nice.
region. And so while the trends that I talked about generally apply across regions and across industries, you'll see that there are some exceptions. And so definitely, yeah, take a look at those breakdowns there. But yeah, my hope is that a takeaway is that brands now have on top of mind a little more that like discounts are this really powerful tool for driving revenue. And if you use unique discount codes in the way that especially these large brands are doing it, you're going to make more money and do so in a way that's not devaluing your brand. So
Amazing.
yeah, hope to see more folks using it and growing their businesses that way.
Amazing, and I love that as a closing statement as well, because I think that the challenge people always have with discounting is it's going to start devaluing stuff. But as we've said today, guys, it doesn't have to devalue what you're doing. It can make things way more targeted and also give you a bit more control over when and who and how you discount as well, which is really really powerful. So, Cara, the link's going to be in the description below. If anyone wants to reach out and ask you guys any questions, or they're like, "All right, I've heard enough about Seguno, I'm going to use it. Let's use it." How can people find Seguno apps? How can they get in touch with you guys? How can they ask questions? And how can they book that free session with you guys as well if they are interested in getting in touch?
So you can go to our website, seguno.com, and we'll put a bunch of links in there too. I'm happy to include my email and other teammates' emails as well if you think that's good.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
of course.
but definitely, yeah, you can. My email is Cara at Seguno, Cara, .com. And I'd love to hear from you, especially if you have any feedback from the conversation. Um, and yeah, this was really fun. Yeah.
Amazing. And if any of you guys are already on our email list as well, and you want to talk to Cara or Brian or any of the team about using Seguno, I think in the last 2 months, I think it's about 7 or 8 people that have emailed us saying some of our clients, some people come through, but yeah, 7 or 8 brands are now using Seguno. And honestly, looking back, going, why did I not do this before? I have an actual human to work with. Brian is very busy at the moment, but he can always be busier, and he's doing an amazing job. So thank you, Brian, if you're listening to this as well. Massive thank you for joining in today's show, Cara, and also thank you for the report. Like, I cannot wait to have a bit of a deeper read as well. It wasn't quite out at the time we've recorded now, so I'm going on all the things Cara has pulled out in an email to me. But I'm looking forward to having a deep dive into it, and might actually feature it in some other episodes as well, coming forward in the next few weeks as well, guys. So, Cara, a massive thank you to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Nick.
Amazing. And for everyone listening at home, leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. This is a Friday and it's the end of the week. Congratulations, you've made it. On Tuesday, I will be doing a Tuesday Tea Break Talks as well, which is just me talking about Shopify news and bits and pieces going on, and any news from Seguno as well, and other partners and sponsors I'll be featuring on that. Otherwise, we're back again next Friday with another guest. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to have you again with us in the future. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment aside from today's episodes to introduce one of our amazing sponsors, Cavella. They are the all-in-one platform that helps you design, sample, and launch your product lines. Cavella are helping Shopify brands save up to 40% on stock costs thanks to their smart, streamlined supply chain. That means more profit for you, less costs, and loads of time saved in trying to get stock on your shelves. Right now, you can fast-track their waiting list and get 50% off your first sample order just by using the code WINNING at checkout. This is an exclusive offer for Winning with Shopify podcast listeners. Just go to the link in our description or in our bio to unlock the savings and skip the queue. You build your brand, save on stock, and step into the future of e-commerce with Cavella. That code again, WINNING.